Hello, beautiful damsels. Protect your peace and you protect your power. This isn't just a self-help mantra. It's a survival strategy for Sigma females. Independent, introspective, and fiercely self-sufficient. They don't just live. They curate every relationship with laser-sharp precision. They understand that one wrong connection can drain their energy faster than a phone with 20 apps running in the background. In a world teeming with emotional chaos and energy vampires, Sigma females have mastered the art of dodging toxic personalities. And it's not just intuition. They're driven by facts. Studies show that surrounding yourself with negative people can actually rewire your brain, affecting your mental health and productivity. But who makes the cut? And who gets ghosted faster than an ex after a bad date? Buckle up, because we're diving into the 10 types of people Sigma females avoid like their life depends on it. Because let's face it, their sanity does. And yes, if you're reading this nervously wondering if you're on the list, well, don't say I didn't warn you. Number 1. Energy parasites. Sigma females are fiercely protective of their energy, and nothing drains them faster than people who thrive on chaos and constant crises. These energy parasites are the ones who always have some kind of drama unfolding, whether it's a relationship meltdown, work catastrophe, or a self-made disaster that somehow becomes your problem. What makes these people exhausting isn't just the frequency of their issues, it's the emotional toll they take without ever offering anything in return. Energy parasites don't seek solutions, they seek attention. They often disguise their behavior as needing advice or empathy, but their true goal is to monopolize your time and mental space. Sigma females see right through this. They know that no matter how much support they offer, these people don't actually want to change. They want a sounding board, someone to dump their negativity on, and then they move on to the next person, leaving behind emotional exhaustion like debris after a storm. The thing about Sigma females is they value peace above all else. They don't have time to be dragged into someone else's cycle of drama. They believe in solving problems and moving forward, not getting stuck in emotional quicksand. When they spot someone who refuses to take responsibility for their own life, they'll cut ties without hesitation. But make no mistake, this isn't about being cold or unsympathetic. Sigma females can be compassionate, but only to people who genuinely want to grow. They reserve their empathy for those who take accountability and make efforts to improve. Everyone else? They're kept at arm's length, far away from the carefully cultivated peace and power a Sigma female guards with her life. And once you've been cut off, there's no invitation back into her world. Number 2. Projection. Artists. Projection artists are masters of disguise. On the surface, they might seem harmless, friendly even, but spend enough time around them, and their true nature seeps through in the form of subtle jabs and sly comments. These people are walking mirrors for their own insecurities, reflecting everything they dislike about themselves onto others. And Sigma females? They don't play along. The projection artist's favorite tools are backhanded compliments. Wow, you're so ambitious, aren't you worried you'll burn out? Or you're so lucky to be confident enough to wear that. Their words are designed to unsettle, making the other person doubt themselves while never outright sounding like an insult. It's a form of manipulation, cloaked in faux concern or friendly banter, but Sigma females see through it immediately. For Sigma women, projection artists are more than just annoying, they're exhausting. These people thrive on stirring up insecurity in others because they're too afraid to confront their own flaws. Instead of working on themselves, they take out their frustrations on those they see as confident or self-assured. To a Sigma, it's like being around a ticking time bomb of negativity. But here's the twist. Sigma females don't absorb these jabs. They deflect them with silence, indifference, or direct confrontation, if necessary. They're not about to play therapist or punching bag for someone unwilling to do the work. Once they identify a projection artist, the emotional wall goes up. Whether the relationship is cut off entirely or just kept at a cool, distant level, one thing is certain. The Sigma will not stick around to be anyone's mirror. Instead, they leave the projection artist to their own reflections and move forward with their peace intact. Number 3. Hidden competitors. Hidden competitors are the ultimate frenemies. people who masquerade as allies but are secretly keeping score of every move you make. To the untrained eye, they may seem supportive, even congratulatory, but beneath the surface they're plotting their next move to outshine you. Sigma females, with their natural intuition and independence, are quick to spot these covert rivals, and they're not ones to tolerate the games. What makes hidden competitors so insidious is their subtlety. They'll applaud your achievements to your face, but behind closed doors, they're working overtime to top whatever you just accomplished. Got a promotion? They'll casually mention how they're thinking about turning down a better offer. Launched a project. They suddenly have something in the works that just so happens to be bigger and better. They frame it all as coincidence or inspiration, but the Sigma knows better. For Sigma females, this kind of competition is exhausting, not because they feel threatened, but because it's unnecessary. Sigmas don't measure their worth against others, and they certainly don't need to participate in someone else's ego-driven race. What they value is genuine connection, rooted in mutual respect and authenticity. The second they sense someone turning the relationship into a covert contest, the walls go up. Hidden competitors also tend to sow seeds of insecurity. They want to create doubt, hoping you'll second-guess yourself. But Sigmas? They don't entertain that nonsense. They trust their path and know their value, so these attempts to destabilize their confidence fall flat. Once identified, hidden competitors are either distanced or quietly removed from the Sigma's circle. There's no confrontation, just a decisive shift. After all, Sigmas aren't here to compete. They're here to thrive on their own terms. Number 4, unsolicited saviors. Unsolicited saviors are those people who swoop in with solutions for problems no one ever mentioned or needed help with. To them, every situation is an opportunity to play the hero, even if it's a non-issue. They believe they're being helpful, but to a Sigma female, this behavior is intrusive and, frankly, condescending. It's not about assistance, it's about control disguised as concern. For a Sigma, independence is her core identity. She values self-sufficiency, problem-solving, and making decisions on her own terms. When an unsolicited savior jumps in with their advice or quick-fix solutions, it signals a lack of respect for her autonomy. She didn't ask for help because she doesn't need it, and the fact that someone thinks she does is both irritating and patronizing. These fixers often don't realize how their actions come across. They frame it as care, but it's rooted in their need to feel needed. They may insert themselves into situations just to prove their worth or gain validation for their efforts, but Sigmas have no patience for this. To them, unsolicited saviors are disruptive forces who undermine their confidence and self-trust by implying they can't handle their own lives. When faced with an unsolicited savior, Sigma females are direct. They'll make it clear when advice isn't wanted, and they won't feel obligated to explain themselves. If the savior keeps pushing, they'll be quietly distanced or cut off entirely. There's no drama, just a firm boundary. Sigmas value relationships built on mutual respect, not ones based on the need to be saved from a problem they didn't even have. If you want to stay in a Sigma's circle, show support when asked, not before. Number 5. Pathological pleasers. Pathological pleasers are people who can't say no and bend over backwards to accommodate everyone around them. At first, they might seem like the perfect friends, always agreeable, constantly supportive, and eager to go along with anything. But, to a Sigma female, their constant need to be liked and validated quickly becomes suffocating. The core issue with pathological pleasers is that they lack boundaries. They'll offer to help with things they're not equipped to handle, agree to plans they have no interest in, and sacrifice their own needs just to avoid potential conflict. While it might seem harmless, it often leads to resentment bubbling under the surface. Because deep down, pleasers expect something in return for their self-sacrifice, whether it's praise, validation, or unspoken loyalty. And when they don't get it, cue the passive-aggressive behavior, subtle guilt trips, or emotional meltdowns. For Sigma females, this behavior is draining. They don't have the bandwidth to constantly reassure someone or play therapist every time the pleaser feels unappreciated. Sigma women value honesty and authenticity, And pleasers, by definition, can't be either. They often hide their true feelings for fear of rejection or judgment, which only creates emotional confusion and unnecessary tension. Worse, pleasers can be easily manipulated. In their quest to be liked by everyone, they may betray loyalties or change their stance on a whim just to please the next person. To a Sigma female, that kind of flakiness is intolerable. Once a Sigma identifies a pathological pleaser, they either set strict boundaries or distance themselves entirely. They prefer relationships where both parties can be honest and self-sufficient, not ones built on people-pleasing, hidden agendas, or emotional exhaustion. After all, being liked isn't nearly as important to a Sigma as being respected. Number 7. Victimhood. Champions. Victimhood champions are those who wear their suffering like a badge of honor, constantly rehashing their misfortunes to gain sympathy, attention, or even control. To a Sigma female, this behavior is a glaring red flag. While empathy is a natural part of human connection, there's a stark difference between someone genuinely seeking support and someone who thrives on playing the perpetual victim. These individuals are masters at turning every situation into a tale of how they've been wronged. Whether it's a minor inconvenience or a life challenge, they'll spin the narrative to make themselves the helpless victim and everyone else the villain. But their goal isn't resolution. It's to ensure they stay in the spotlight and collect as much sympathy as possible. Over time, this mindset becomes suffocating because it leaves no room for growth or solutions. Sigma females, who are naturally self-reliant and solution-oriented, have little patience for this mentality. They believe in taking ownership of their lives, learning from setbacks, finding strength in adversity, and moving forward. Victimhood champions, however, are stuck in a loop of self-pity and blame, often dragging everyone around them into the same cycle. Even more frustrating is how these individuals often reject any advice or help. They may even lash out at those who encourage them to take control of their circumstances, because doing so would mean letting go of the attention their victimhood provides. To a Sigma, this is emotionally exhausting and completely counterproductive. When confronted with a victimhood champion, Sigma females will offer empathy, but only up to a point. If it becomes clear that the person is unwilling to take any accountability or make positive changes, the Sigma will disengage. After all, they refuse to be part of a never-ending pity party. Number 8. Manipulative empaths. Manipulative empaths are a particularly tricky type to deal with because they cloak control and coercion in what appears to be compassion. They present themselves as caring and emotionally in tune, but underneath that facade is a desire to manipulate others by leveraging guilt, obligation, or emotional dependence. Sigma females who are fiercely independent and highly intuitive spot this behavior early and don't fall for the act. These individuals often use empathy as a tool to make others feel indebted. They'll play up how much they've done for you or how deeply they understand your pain, only to subtly twist it into pressure. After everything I've done for you, I'm surprised you won't help me with this, or I thought you'd care more, are classic phrases in their arsenal. To a Sigma, this isn't empathy, it's emotional blackmail. Manipulative empaths also excel at creating a sense of obligation. They'll offer unsolicited help or become overly involved in your life, only to later use their sacrifices as leverage. This behavior may seem harmless at first, but over time it becomes suffocating. Sigma females, who value autonomy and detest feeling trapped, quickly recognize when someone's help comes with strings attached. Perhaps the most toxic tactic manipulative empaths use is guilt. They'll position themselves as perpetual martyrs, painting themselves as the ones who are always giving and never receiving. The goal? To make others feel like they're not doing enough. But a Sigma female won't let anyone weaponize guilt against her. She sets firm boundaries and makes it clear that manipulation disguised as empathy won't fly. Once a Sigma identifies a manipulative empath, she'll distance herself without hesitation. Genuine empathy fosters connection. Manipulation breeds resentment. And for a Sigma, there's no room for resentment in her carefully curated life. Number 9. Approval. Addicts. Approval addicts are those who live for external validation, the constant need to be liked, praised, or noticed. Their entire sense of self-worth is built on how others perceive them, and that craving for approval can become toxic over time. To Sigma females, this mindset is not just exhausting, it's dangerous. They quickly distance themselves from approval addicts because these individuals often bring envy, jealousy, and unnecessary competition into relationships. One of the most frustrating things about approval addicts is how they're constantly comparing themselves to others. They don't just seek validation for what they do, they want to be the best, or at least be perceived as such. If a Sigma female achieves something noteworthy, an approval addict may pretend to be happy for her, but underneath the surface, jealousy starts brewing. They'll either try to outdo her or find subtle ways to downplay her success to make themselves feel better. Approval addicts also tend to mold themselves to fit whoever they're around at the moment. Instead of standing firm in their beliefs or personality, they shape-shift in hopes of winning approval. To a Sigma, this lack of authenticity is a huge turnoff. Sigma females value people who are unapologetically themselves, not those who change personas to fit in or avoid conflict. What makes approval addicts particularly problematic is that they can become emotionally draining. Their constant search for validation means they're often insecure and needy, relying on others for reassurance. Sigma females who cherish their peace and autonomy have little patience for this emotional dependency. Rather than getting sucked into someone else's approval-seeking vortex, a Sigma will step back. She knows that self-worth comes from within, not from the applause of others, and she surrounds herself with people who understand that too. Number 10. Control dictators. Control dictators are the type of people who, whether overtly or covertly, try to pull the strings in relationships. They often mask their controlling tendencies under the guise of concern, guidance, or helpfulness. But Sigma females are experts at spotting the signs. They can sense when someone is trying to manipulate or dominate situations, and they meet this behavior with stone-cold resistance. The thing with control dictators is they're often very skilled at disguising their need for control. They don't always make demands outright. Instead, they subtly steer conversations, decisions, and even emotions in a way that benefits them. Maybe it's the passive-aggressive comment about how things would be so much easier if you just did it my way, or the quiet manipulation of your schedule, subtly pushing you to prioritize them. But a Sigma female? She sees through this charade immediately. What makes these people dangerous is that they feed off the power dynamic in any relationship. They'll test your boundaries, see how much they can push, and slowly erode your sense of autonomy. The moment they sense they have any influence over you, they'll work to tighten their grip. They may even claim they're just trying to help or know what's best for you, but it's all a mask to get you to fall in line with their desires. Sigma females won't entertain this behavior for a second. They cherish their independence too much to let anyone dictate how they think, feel, or live. If someone tries to manipulate them or control the dynamic of the relationship, the Sigma will shut it down immediately, either with a firm conversation or by simply distancing herself from that person altogether. There's no room for domination in a Sigma's life. She's in charge of her own narrative, and no one else gets to rewrite it. Number 11. Unapologetic gossipers. Unapologetic gossipers are the kind of people who live for the chaos of other people's lives. They thrive on drama, spreading rumors, and digging into the misfortunes of others with glee. For them, it's not just about sharing information, it's about feeding off the negativity and creating a ripple effect of misery. Sigma females have no tolerance for this behavior and quickly identify gossipers as toxic influences to be removed from their lives. What makes unapologetic gossipers particularly dangerous is their lack of remorse. They'll talk behind people's backs, often exaggerating or twisting the truth, just to watch the fallout. For them, the more drama, the better. They'll build their sense of self-importance by being the source of information, even if it's based on half-truths or outright lies. The problem is, once they've turned their attention on one person, they move on to the next target, creating a cycle of negativity that breeds distrust and resentment. Sigma females, with their natural radar for toxicity, have little patience for people who thrive on negativity. To them, Gossip is a betrayal of trust, a waste of energy, and a sign of immaturity. Sigma women know that drama is a distraction, one that takes away from the things that truly matter: personal growth, meaningful connections, and peace of mind. When a gossiper enters the picture, it's not just a turn-off. It's an immediate deal-breaker. Once a Sigma spots an unapologetic gossiper, they don't waste time trying to change or confront them. They simply remove them from their circle. Whether it's distancing themselves or cutting ties completely, a Sigma female refuses to let someone who spreads negativity influence her life. She values authenticity, trust, and respect, and those who disregard those principles are shown the door without hesitation. Number 12. Performative friends. Performative friends are the masters of showing up when it's convenient or when there's something to gain. They love being seen at social events, snapping photos for the gram, or making their presence known in public spaces to maintain an image of a great friend. But when it comes to the real, messy, or difficult moments, the moments that require actual support, effort, or vulnerability, these friends vanish. For Sigma females, these fair-weather friendships are a huge red flag. What makes performative friends so insidious is that they use the appearance of friendship as a form of social currency. They'll act like the life of the party, making a spectacle of themselves and drawing attention to the deep connections they claim to have with others. But when the cameras are off and the crowd disperses, they're nowhere to be found. They're the ones who'll bail when you're in need or won't lift a finger when you're going through something tough. Their friendship exists only in the spotlight. Sigma females who deeply value authenticity and integrity see right through this act. They don't want friendships based on status or image. They want connections built on mutual respect, reliability, and genuine care. To them, someone who only shows up for the public perks of friendship and disappears when it matters is more of a liability than a friend. Once Sigma females recognize a performative friend, they won't waste time on them. There's no confrontation, no drawn-out explanation. They just cut ties, often quietly. The Sigma has no space for people who want to be part of their life for all the wrong reasons. Real friendship is about being there in the tough times, not just when it's convenient or trendy. And for a Sigma female, anyone who doesn't show up for the real moments is shown the door without a second thought. In a world filled with manipulations, distractions, and half-hearted connections, Sigma females stand as pillars of self-reliance, authenticity, and unyielding strength. They don't have time for games, and they certainly don't entertain those who seek to drain, manipulate, or compete with them. From the energy-draining manipulators to the fair-weather friends who only show up when it benefits them, Sigma females have mastered the art of cutting ties with the toxic and embracing what truly matters: genuine, empowering relationships. The truth is, Sigma females are selective by nature. They don't need a large crowd, and they certainly don't need to be validated by anyone. What they seek are meaningful connections based on trust, mutual respect, and shared values. They don't entertain anyone who tries to manipulate their reality or dim their light. The people they allow into their lives must show authenticity, accountability, and a willingness to grow. Anything less is a waste of their precious energy. So to anyone who tries to manipulate or play games with a Sigma, beware. They'll spot your tactics long before you even realize they've seen through you. And once you've shown your true colors, you'll find that a Sigma female will swiftly and silently remove herself from your world. She's not interested in conflict. She's just far too busy building the life and connections she truly deserves. In the end, Sigma females don't just avoid these types of people. They create lives that are too powerful, too focused, and too fulfilling for negativity to take root. If you ever find yourself in the orbit of a Sigma female, remember, they may be selective, but the loyalty and strength they offer in return are unmatched. If you found this deep dive into the world of Sigma females eye-opening and thought-provoking, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with all our latest content. If you resonated with these points, or have experiences of your own to share, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you think this is something your friends need to hear, go ahead and share it with them. Let's keep the conversation going and continue exploring what makes the Sigma mindset so powerful. Like, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. There's much more to come.